Ever wonder what goes on in the dark side of Hollywood's relationships? If you thought it was a bed of roses, get ready for a shock. These are the top worst cheaters in Hollywood history. Number 10. Jude Law. What's the most unforgivable Hollywood cheating experience that you can possibly think of? A sneaky night out with an ex? Or maybe an affair with a co-star? Well, Jude Law did the unthinkable in a way you'd never expect, not even in a million years. You see, Jude Law and Sienna Miller were a picture-perfect Hollywood couple. They were both rich, easy on the eyes, and looked so good together. Fans couldn't stop screaming every time they were spotted together. And things seemed to be going pretty well, or at least on the outside. The couple had been engaged for 8 months and a wedding was looming on the horizon, until the bombshell dropped. Law's kid's nanny, Daisy Wright, claimed that the two had been involved in an affair while he was filming a movie in New Orleans. Yeah, you heard right. Law was cheating on his fiancée with a nanny that was hired by his ex-wife, Sadie Frost. As you would expect, things quickly became messy. The media was saying all kinds of stuff, and poor Miller was being hounded by the media for a statement. Eventually, though, Law made a public statement. He apologized to Miller and his fans for his actions and pleaded for privacy while handling the situation internally. To show remorse, Law promised to cut off all forms of communication with the nanny. Plus, she was also dismissed from her position and moved on from the family. Curious about how Miller reacted, though. Surprisingly, she forgives him. In fact, the couple eventually got married, but it's safe to say the union was built on a rocky foundation because they got divorced only a year later. But hey, none of this can be compared to this next Hollywood scandal.
The baby maggots have crawled up, and now they've started to grow, and eventually they're going to eat the dog alive from the inside out. He says it should be put to sleep because it's an old dog anyway.
Number 9. Meg Ryan. In the world of Hollywood, scandals are as common as red carpet premieres. In fact, a year without a groundbreaking scandal is often deemed a boring affair. But amid the millions of juicy scandals and celebrity gossip over the years, the split between America's sweetheart, Meg Ryan, and her husband Dennis Quaid rocked Hollywood like never before. You might want to brace yourself for this one because there's going to be a big twist at the end. Known for roles in captivating romantic comedies like When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle, Meg Ryan was like an angel. She was the epitome of wholesome charm and grace. The thought of her being in a cheating scandal was simply revolting. But alas, behind the facade of her squeaky clean image lurked a scandalous affair that would forever tarnish her reputation. It all started innocently enough on the set of the 2000 thriller Proof of Life, where Meg Ryan crossed paths with the charming Russell Crowe. Unlike the typical camaraderie between co-stars, Ryan and Crowe felt something more, and before long, they found themselves caught in a whirlwind romance that would send shockwaves through Hollywood. Despite being married to Dennis Quaid since 1991 and sharing a son named Jack, Meg fell head over heels for Russell Crowe. The pair tried to hide it, but the sparks of their forbidden love were too irresistible. Their instant chemistry led to whispers of an affair brewing behind the scenes, casting a shadow over Meg's seemingly perfect marriage. And guess what? It only got worse from there. As rumors of the affair swirled, tensions mounted on the set of Proof of Life, with cast and crew feeling the awkwardness of the situation. Can you blame them, though? The bad publicity made the setting a toxic environment. Soon, Meg Ryan became public enemy number 1. And with director Taylor Hackford blaming her forbidden relationship for the box office movie's flop, the pressure was boiling. At that point, she had to come clean. She confessed that she had an affair with Crowe and that she refused to apologize for following her heart's desires. Now, you might be thinking that love is worth jeopardizing your career for, aren't you? Well, not in this case, because her affair with Crowe didn't even last long. As a matter of fact, it only lasted for a few months. Why, you may ask? Word on the street claims that while Russell envisioned a future with Meg, she felt overwhelmed by the intensity of his affection and the rapid pace of their relationship. But while that should have been the end of this story, Meg Ryan shocked the world again with a bombshell. She claimed that not only she had an affair with Russell Crowe because Dennis was cheating on her first. Can you imagine what is going on in the industry? Nevertheless, Dennis denied her claims, suggesting he was a good husband to her. Plus, he also hit back at her, saying that she should move on from their failed marriage like he did. But the drama doesn't end there. The next revelation in Hollywood's web of scandal and deceit will leave your jaws wide open.
It's an unusual choice of occupation for a sort of centrally placed male.
Number 8. Jack Nicholson. When it comes to celebrity gossip and scandalous relationships, Jack Nicholson's 17-year love affair with Angelica Houston is definitely one for the ages. They never married or had kids, despite Houston desperately wanting both. But like the walls of Jericho, it all came crashing down when Playboy Nicholson did the unthinkable. But first, let's go back to the very beginning. Enter the glam fest of 1980s Hollywood with Jack Nicholson in his prime. Known throughout the industry for his charm and charisma, he was one of the most sought-after celebrities at the time. Houston and Nicholson met early in 1973 at Nicholson's Mulholland Drive home, and no, it wasn't for any shenanigans. Nicholson was throwing a birthday party, and Angela Houston got invited, of course. But here's the thing, their chemistry was magnetic, or at least that's what we think. Because despite the duo having a 15-year age gap between them, they connected immediately. Close your eyes and imagine them dancing the night away, sharing drinks and laughter before spending the night together. Yeah, that kind of fun. But that's not where the crazy twist comes in. After dating for 2 years, the pair eventually split up in 1975. Houston broke things off and began dating Ryan O'Neal shortly after, but this wasn't to be a Romeo and Juliet love affair. O'Neal assaulted Houston at a party, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. With a split in effect, she rekindled her relationship with Nicholson. And yeah, the fans were elated. Houston was an attractive woman and so was Nicholson. Shipping them together was simply a no-brainer. However, this is where things turned 180 degrees. Behind the scenes, Nicholson had a reputation as notorious womanizer. And no, we don't mean the occasional flirting with co-stars or supermodels. We're talking full-blown cheating in every sense of the word. So if you're a Nicholson fan, you might want to look away, because your idol is about to leave you utterly disappointed. Because despite the fact that Nicholson was pretty discreet about his infidelity, Houston still found the belongings of other women at his house. Now, for some reason, she kept quiet about it, perhaps in a bit to avoid the scandal altogether. However, it wasn't until 1990 that Nick came clean to her about his escapades. He was quite blunt about it. He confessed that he had been secretly sleeping with model and actress Rebecca Broussard. But if the fact that she was 26 years younger didn't strike you as odd, just wait till you find out what happened next. Over dinner, the cheating Nicholson told Houston that Miss Broussard was actually expecting his baby, but that he didn't want her to alter their relationship. Can you imagine the sheer audacity? How could he have gotten another woman pregnant and still say he didn't want things to change between them? That's some pretty nasty stuff. Now, Houston may have been heartbroken, but she was no fool. She boldly told Nicholson that there was only room for one of them in the picture, and it definitely wasn't going to be her. That awkward dinner, their relationship was finally over. Despite the heartbreak, Houston healed and fell in love again, but this time with Robert Graham. They got married in 1992, with their love enduring until Robert's passing in 2008. Meanwhile, Jack continued his relationship with Rebecca for a little while longer before she eventually broke up with him in 1993. Karma? You tell me. But if you think this is Hollywood's worst cheating scandal of all time, you just wait to see who comes next.
I don't know the pills.
Your feet.
Say it again, it keeps me awake.
I love you.
Number 7. Ingrid Bergman. After a decade as one of the biggest movie stars in the world, Ingrid Bergman began 1950 in one of the worst scandals in the entertainment industry. You know what? Make that in any industry. It was so bad that she almost got blacklisted from Hollywood. And no, we're not even kidding. Ready to uncover the truth behind Bergman's shocking infidelity scandal? Shortly after filming Casablanca, Bergman started to get bored with the same old Hollywood style. She wanted something new, something different, and that desire led her to foreign films. Now enter Roberto Rossellini, the director of an Italian movie that Bergman reportedly loved a lot. But this admiration didn't stop there. She was so hooked on Rossellini that it practically became an obsession. She even flew to Rome to meet him. Yikes! So they met in the beautiful city and hit it off together, leading to a year-long affair. He eventually cast her in one of his movies, Stromboli, and that's when things came crashing down. You see, before the movie got released, Bergman confessed to the public that she was pregnant with Rossellini's child. And yes, she was still married to Lindstrom at the time. Outraged fans turned their backs on the once-beloved actress, bombarding her with hate-filled letters, but it didn't stop there. Enter Edward C. Johnson, a U.S. senator who saw Bergman's affair as a threat to the institution of marriage. A child out of wedlock for an already married man? Bergman's affair was the height of scandal at the time. Not even her promise to divorce Lindstrom to accommodate her forbidden love for Rossellini could pacify fans. And just like that, Bergman's reputation was instantly destroyed. Her brand deals were off, she was cut off from all her studio connections in America, and she had no more film offers. She was basically in limbo. But if you thought that was the worst part, you've seen nothing yet. Her new films were being boycotted across America, and she even got banned from The Ed Sullivan Show. Curious about how her fans reacted? Grab your popcorn because it gets even worse. Outraged fans turned their backs on the once beloved actress, bombarding her with hate-filled letters, and yeah, they were pretty bad. Throughout the 1950s, Bergman received telegrams and letters from people who felt betrayed that the innocent and pure actress they had in mind was, in fact, human. Some called her a prostitute, a disgrace to womanhood, and they said they hoped her daughter would suffer terribly. The outrage was so serious that even Congress was involved. Edward C. Johnson, a senator from Colorado, publicly slammed Bergman. He accused her of assaulting the purity of marriage and labeled her a powerful influence for evil. But it didn't stop there. He proposed a bill that would require movies to obtain licenses based on the morality of their stars and filmmakers, obviously a dig to Bergman. The message was crystal clear. She was canceled before being canceled was even a thing. Nonetheless, she didn't seem to mind much. Regardless of the boycotted sanctions, she got married to her forbidden lover. But it didn't last too long. 7 years after marrying Rossellini and birthing 3 children, she got an annulment and returned to Hollywood like nothing ever happened. She starred in hits like Anastasia and got her 2nd Academy Award. Weird, don't you think? Number 6. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hey, remember when the Terminator became human? And by that, we mean make a big mistake? Yeah, 2011 was a pretty wild affair. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Hollywood's perfect hunk, was involved in an infidelity so crazy that it's still reverberating in the annals of Hollywood history to this very day. For years, Mr. Schwarzenegger had been celebrated not only for his iconic roles in blockbuster films, but also for his foray into politics, serving as the governor of California from 2003 to 2011. He was tall, huge, and very respectful to fans. At the time, he probably had zero haters because everyone loved his movies and personality. Who in his right mind could despise that? Yet beneath the persona of a teddy bear lurked a tale of betrayal and deception that would forever alter the trajectory of his personal and professional life. News broke out that he had been unfaithful to his wife of 25 years, Maria Shriver. Like an actual bomb, things were perfect in one moment and imperfect in the next. Chaos and pandemonium. The revelation sent the media into a frenzy as the public struggled to reconcile the image of the action superstar with the reality of his clandestine affair. What made the scandal all the more astonishing was the discovery that the object of Schwarzenegger's folly was none other than Mildred Patricia Baena, a housekeeper who had worked in their home. But it only got worse from there, because for over a decade, Schwarzenegger hid a dirty secret from his wife, fans, and the entire world. Mildred Patricia Baena was actually the mother of Schwarzenegger's son, Joseph. This was back in 1997. The secret was so well hidden that it was only after Schwarzenegger's tenure as governor had come to an end that he made the decision to come clean about his deceit toward his wife. The fallout was swift and utterly devastating. Maria Shriver, reeling from the betrayal, immediately filed for divorce, bringing to an end what was once considered one of Hollywood's most enduring power couples. Can you blame her, though? Imagine living with your husband's concubine under the same roof. It must have been heartbreaking. And to make things even more embarrassing for Schwarzenegger, the divorce proceedings dragged on because of disagreements over financial matters. But hey, you know what they say, every fall brings the opportunity for redemption. In a candid interview with the LA Times, Schwarzenegger took full responsibility for his actions, expressing remorse for the pain he had caused his loved ones. He declared that there were no excuses for his cheating affair, and that he took full responsibility for any hurt that he might have caused to his wife, his son, and the world. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this saga was Schwarzenegger's subsequent efforts to rebuild his fractured relationships. With their shared passion for bodybuilding, father and son developed a bond, and to date, he has never shied away from having his son in the spotlight. The pair even made an appearance on the popular television show Dancing with the Stars. But while this story may have ended with a redemption arc, the next cheater on our list will certainly piss you off.
Somebody new. It isn't too easy.
Number 5. Eddie Fischer. In the amazing world of 1950s Hollywood, a scandalous love affair triangle unlike any other unfolded. 3 of the most prominent stars of that era will be dragged into one of the world's most shocking cheating affairs, altering the trajectory of their lives forever. Curious about who this mysterious trio was? At the center of this tumultuous affair were none other than singer Eddie Fischer, his wife, actress Debbie Reynolds, and their close friend Elizabeth Taylor. Brace yourself, because you will never see a story like this ever again. If you're a fan of Hollywood 1950s, you must have known that the trio were as thick as thieves. Two or even the full squad were often seen together, just chilling out. With Eddie and Debbie enjoying a seemingly happy marriage, the third party seemed pretty harmless, especially given she was also married. But sadly, the winds of change were soon going to blow fiercely. You see, Elizabeth's husband, Mike Todd, tragically passed away, leaving her utterly devastated. And in her time of need, she needed a close friend to be a shoulder to cry on and comfort her. Like a knight in shining armor, Eddie stepped up to console his grieving friend. And little did everyone know that these acts of consolation would ignite a passionate spark between Eddie Fischer and Elizabeth Taylor. While it must have started rather innocently, things eventually became steamy. They started spending more time together, with their affairs beginning to blur the lines of mere friendship. Soon after, whispers became louder and rumors began to circulate. You didn't think the media was going to let this juicy story dry up, did you? With pressure mounting on the pair, it began to get sloppy, and with Debbie Reynolds being no fool, she became determined to uncover the secret that everyone seemed to be guarding. In an interview with E.T. in 1988, she recalled the moment her resolve began to mount. She believed that everyone was sort of whispering, "Does she know?" And so she wanted to discover what they were whispering about. After paying closer attention, she began to hear certain words, Eddie and Elizabeth. Can you imagine how heartbreaking that moment must have been? How she must have felt hearing her husband and friend having an affair behind her back? It must have been pretty traumatic. And to make things worse, Debbie's worst fears were confirmed when she made a phone call to Elizabeth for company while Eddie was away on tour. However, instead of Elizabeth's voice on the line, it was Eddie himself who answered, a clear indication of their illicit affair. But guess what? The pair didn't even have the decency to act right with Debbie on the phone. Elizabeth was asking Eddie who he was speaking to in the background, and according to Debbie, they were obviously in bed together at an unholy hour. Crazy, right? Debbie Reynolds felt shattered. Her world came crashing down. But surprisingly, she still found a place in her heart to forgive Elizabeth, placing the blame squarely on Eddie's shoulder for the demise of their marriage. Not too long after, the pair got divorced, with the clandestine partners eventually getting married, triggering widespread displeasure from fans. But hey, if you thought this marriage cemented Elizabeth's place in Hollywood's scandalous history, just wait until you see what happens next.
Little girl, somebody ought to teach you to knock before you open a door.
Number 4. Elizabeth Taylor. Yep, you heard right. Despite being married for the 4th time to singer and actor Eddie Fischer, Elizabeth Taylor struck again. But this time, her scandalous tale takes us far back to the 1960s, when her passionate love affair with Richard Burton ripped the entertainment industry apart. It was so bad that it left a trail of broken hearts and unprecedented scandals in its wake. Now, unlike her affair with Eddie Fischer, her forbidden romance began on the set of the epic film Cleopatra back in 1963. She found herself irresistibly drawn to the charismatic charm and wit of Richard Burton, who was married to his first wife, Sybil Williams, at the time. Once the flames of their desire ignited, things spread like wildfire, with their clandestine affair reverberating far beyond the confines of the silver screens. You wouldn't believe what happened next. Every time they had an argument, the film set became toxic. Their illicit relationship began to cause a fractious chemistry, with coworkers witnessing their intense arguments and disappointing behaviors. Things got so bad that the duo often went back to their respective trailers when they should have been filming. Shocking, right? Now, as you would expect from the paparazzi, they wanted to milk the juicy story. Day after day, gossip-hungry photographers snuck onto the film set, pretending to be part of the background crew. Their mission? To eagerly get pictures or clips of every juicy moment between Taylor and Burton's forbidden romance. Even the Vatican's newspaper criticized their affair, calling it a scandalous display of inappropriate behavior. And if that wasn't enough, a member of Congress even pushed for the United States to block the actor's entry, citing their alleged undesirability. But make no mistake, guys, this wasn't just a fleeting romance. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton's bond was so intense that they boldly disregarded societal expectations by finally tying the knot in 1964, even though they were both still legally married to other people. Sounds a bit like deja vu, right? However, their inappropriate affair wasn't to be a love story curbed from Twilight. Call it Troll from Karma, but their relationship was heavily marked by heated altercations and an extravagant lifestyle. But funny enough, the union still lasted for a decade, despite its numerous ups and downs, including 2 marriages and 2 divorces. Their romance mesmerized the world, dominating headlines and keeping tabloids buzzing with every dramatic development. They embodied the quintessential Hollywood love affair, with their lavish lifestyles and grand declarations of affection constantly grabbing attention. Behind the drama, though, we can't help but wonder, Given the origins of Elizabeth's tumultuous relationship with Eddie Fischer and her cheating affair with Burton, which of these affairs would you say surprised you the most? And also, is Elizabeth Taylor the absolute queen of Hollywood's scandalous stories? Because of the tangled webs of friendships and betrayals birthed from her relationships, we can't help but feel that she's arguably one of the most mind-boggling entertainers that the industry has ever seen. But hey, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification icon so you can keep abreast of any and all of our amazing videos like this. But let's get back to more celebrity scandals because our top 3 are even crazier.
We go into space because whatever mankind must undertake, free men must fully share.
Number 3. John F. Kennedy. You didn't think we were going to make a list of the top 10 biggest cheating scandals in Hollywood history without talking about JFK's affair, did you? As one of the most popular politicians of all time, and even the former #1 man of America, President John F. Kennedy isn't exactly the kind of name you'd expect in Hollywood. But when you're allegedly having an affair on your wife with the actual queen of Hollywood's classic era, best believe you're going to make headlines. Marilyn Monroe, the original blonde bombshell, had used her overwhelming sex appeal to her advantage throughout her career. She gained fame and fortune for it, but yet it was her romantic entanglements that often made headlines. She had been married to baseball player Joe DiMaggio and playwright Arthur Miller, but her relationships with well-known figures didn't stop there. Although it was never officially confirmed that he was dating the iconic Marilyn Monroe, the rumors of their romance persisted over the years, fueling speculation and intrigue each time. Take, for instance, the mysterious party at Bing Crosby's Palm Springs home in March of 1962. Biographer Donald Spoto believed that there was a strong evidence suggesting that the pair did more than just have fun together. But given the evidences never made the light, the notion of an ongoing affair still remained highly disputed. Nonetheless, the infamous moment that added fuel to the fire was Marilyn's seductive rendition of Happy Birthday to the President, which sent tongues wagging and imaginations running wild. At the time, Monroe was grappling with personal struggles, battling through failed marriages, substance abuse, and a declining movie career. Speculation also swirled about her alleged involvement with Robert Kennedy, suggesting a complex web of connections and secrets. Despite the speculation surrounding JFK's supposed involvement with Marilyn, Jackie Kennedy Onassis remained committed to her marriage until JFK's tragic assassination in 1963. Some may find it weird, but hey, it could also be that she just never wanted no drama. But what do you think? Did Jackie trust her husband that much? In any case, Jackie's unwavering strength and resilience amid the drama and speculation surrounding her marriage just goes to show her ability to soak in the pressure. She would have made an excellent star in Hollywood. Sadly, the truth about Marilyn's alleged relationships with the Kennedy brothers may never be fully known. The president was assassinated, and Marilyn's life was cut short at the age of 36 when she was found dead from a drug overdose in Los Angeles in 1962. However, to date, the mysterious and allure surrounding her relationships with the Kennedys continue to captivate the public's imagination, leaving a lasting legacy of scandal, passion, and unanswered questions. But before we go into the next figure on our list, make sure to tell us your thoughts about Marilyn's love affair. Do you think she really had something going on with the president and his brother?
Just tell them I saw you first.
I'll try to remember that I saw you first.
Me?
Baby, I should have seen you sooner.
Number 2. Frank Sinatra. Now on to number 2, we have Frank Sinatra, the iconic figure whose smooth and spine-tingling voice smothered audiences worldwide. However, behind the curtains, the legendary crooner was ensnared in a complex web of romance and betrayal. You see, Frank Sinatra was married to his childhood sweetheart, Nancy Barbado, and to the eyes of the public, everything was perfect between them. However, as you must have already figured out, reality is often different than it seems. Back in 1943, Ava Gardner crossed paths with Mr. Sinatra at a club. Wondering what a married man was doing there in the first place? Well, your guess is as good as ours. Because come on now, why put yourself in a tempting position in the first place? Nonetheless, Ava must have been looking her utmost best because she left Frank Sinatra smitten at their first meeting, to the point where he couldn't help but express his admiration. But while it may have started innocently, if at all it ever did, Frank Sinatra's connection with Ava Gardner kept growing from strength to strength. The more they hung out together, the greater their affair blossomed. When will Hollywood stars ever learn? In 1951, the illicit relationship was too much for Frank to resist. He divorced his wife Nancy and married Ava. At first, their union seemed to be written in the stars. Two stars of Hollywood were burning an inferno of romance, and both the media and fans alike were loving every bit of it. However, despite his marriage to Ava Gardner, the playboy nature of Frank Sinatra's personal life haunted him yet again. With countless women swooning over him, he couldn't stay faithful to his beloved bride. And as those temptations began to become heated, the relationship between him and Ava got strained. They eventually got divorced in 1957, putting an end to their love story. Make sure you've gotten your popcorn locked in, though, because we've saved the best for last. Our next Hollywood cheating story is so wild that you'd never believe it even happened.
Most
What are you doing Saturday night?
committing suicide.
What about Friday night?
Number 1. Woody Allen. If you thought anything of the Hollywood scandals that we've talked about so far, you've seen and heard nothing yet. And to put some perspective on what we're referring to, let's take a trip down memory lane to the story of Woody Allen, a 4-time Oscar winner and 16-time Oscar nominee. But he's not a character in today's video because of his sublime works in Hollywood. Far from that. His tale has a sinister twist. Back in 1992, Woody Allen and Mia Farrow were the power couple everyone admired. They had this artistic synergy, collaborating on numerous films across their careers. But here's the thing. The Hollywood legend wasn't the only woman in his life at the time. No, sir. He was also in a shocking relationship with their adopted daughter, Soon-Yi Previn. He even had her nude photos, and guess what? She was 35 years younger than him at the time. But hey, you've seen nothing yet, because instead of denying it or having the decency of calling things off, the two even made it official by tying the knot. Soon-Yi even went on record saying Woody was never a father figure to her. But let's be real, finding out your partner is into your adopted daughter? That's the stuff of nightmares. Aye, but wait, there's more. Just when you think the drama couldn't escalate further, Mia and Woody's adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow, ended up accusing Woody of sexual abuse. This bombshell rocked Hollywood to its core. The legal drama immediately unfolded with investigations and court proceedings being the order of the day. However, the case eventually got cold due to a lack of evidence. Woody may have dodged some legal bullets, but his relationship with his kids never remained the same. He lost custody of all 3 kids, despite his apparent innocence. To date, though, the truth of the case remains up for contention. On the one hand, Dylan still maintains her accusations, while Woody and his supporters on the other claim she was just being manipulated by Mia. In any case, it's a heartbreaking saga of family betrayal and shattered trust. So next time you think Hollywood scandals are just tabloid fodder, think again. The Woody Allen saga is a reminder that truth can be stronger than fiction, and that Hollywood, beneath its shiny appeal, is a wild jungle. That concludes our journey through the 10 worst cheaters in Hollywood history. Which story surprised you the most? Don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, make sure to watch the video currently displayed on screen for more Hollywood craziness.